Hey everybody, it's Aquila, and this is a Lefty podcast, episode 196. It's Sunday, and I'm recording early. What is up with that? Seriously, I don't know. Sorry. Fuzzy. I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. I record crafty stuff that I'm doing through the week, and then I mush it together and post usually on Saturdays. Like I said, it is Sunday, February 26th. This month is almost over. So I have been not the greatest fiber friend. And I was gifted this Halloween advent from Rebecca of Stars Grove. And when she did that, I asked her, what can I do for you? Because she gifted me that. I felt like, So I was like, I will send me some yarn. I'll crank you some samples of your colors, like colors that maybe sell a lot or that you would like to have pictures of for the website and things like that. And she sent me some and I just haven't done it. And that's really bad because I've had that since, October. Stars Grove Fibers. So I put on cones already. This is called Tide Pools. And this is a 75-25, 100 gram, 463 yards. And this is a little mini. I know these go together, but I just don't know. I feel like I want to do the whole sock in this and then just crank like a sample little tube of the mini. So that's probably what I'm going to do. And yeah, so I'm gonna crank these. This one was a mini, and this is called Lost Shaker of Salt, which is really great because I love Jimmy Buffett. That's not my favorite song, but I love Jimmy Buffett and Lost Shaker of Salt. Salt. Okay, I'm gonna get some cranking done, and I'll insert video now because why not? Because it's the same day, and I already recorded it. Inserting that now. Hey y'all, I'm in the dye dungeon. So, what am I doing? Remember them gloves I made for John? Well, I never dyed them, so I'm gonna do that today since I have some time. I am kid-free right now, and that helps. So, yeah, these were the gloves I made John. This was out of the Maryland Lamb Co-op yarns that they had it was a subscription, I think a monthly subscription. I did like 4 months worth. And so I made these. So this is like undyed wool, and they're the convertible. I don't remember the name. It'll all be down below. These are convertible. And I'm going to dip dye these. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the part on, dip dye from one end, and then dip dye from the other end, 2 different colors. I'm thinking a green and a brown. So I have a pot in front of me already with some citric acid and water, so I'm gonna prep these in that, get them soaked, and then figure out a contraption to hold them up so I don't have to stand back here and hold them. So that's what I'm gonna do so I can dip dye them. So let's just put them in the water here and we'll get this party going. All right, until I'll just keep showing you clips of what I'm doing. Bye. Probably hard to see, but at this point I had moved them down a little bit every time, and now I've just put them in to fully exhaust any leftover dye that's in there. And yeah, and then I'm gonna flip it and put in the other color and we'll do that. I'm excited. So it is still Sunday. Family's home, always making noise. You can skedaddle. I finished color 1, but I wanted to show you, like, I'm not going to do a magic knot ball for this blanket. So I wanted to try doing a clasp join or a Russian join. And I realized that it's 2 different things. And then I also realized when I'm doing what I call a Russian join on my circular sock machine, it's not quite a Russian join. So when you do a Russian join, let me get this is my little bag of all my little scissors and whatnot. I don't normally show that stuff. Okay, so you need a sharper needle to do this. So I have one in here that's a little bit sharper. I have one for not darning my socks, but for Kitchener socks. I have thicker ones for other stuff. But I'm going to use this smaller needle. So when you do both a Russian and a clasp join, essentially you're going to have one end and you're going to make a loop. And you're going to have the new yarn and you're going to make a loop and it's going to do this. Okay? So when you do a clasped join, because they call it clasped because I guess it's connecting like that and go in opposite directions with the ends, you would just knit with your tail end. That's the clasp join. You would just knit with your tail end until you would fold it over, knit, so essentially you're going to have 2 stitches to make 1 stitch. So 2 strands making 1 stitch. So you need to remember that when you get back around to that point. Now, if you're making something that you want to keep pretty uniform, you might not want to use that join. Just saying. But when you do a clasped weft, or the Russian join, you need to use your needle. So you would thread and you cannot do the Russian join with a yarn that is a single ply, or B, I guess something that's an odd type of material. So what you're essentially doing is you're going to take and you're going to thread your needle, more point to your needle. You're going to go back into the working yarn end, not the tail end. And you're going to go into the plies. It's a little hard to show. I will link Very Pink Knits tutorial. And so you're just essentially going into your plies. So can you see that? And I'm not quite sure how far you want to do this. I guess your own conscience on what you feel comfortable with. So you're going to go and do that, okay? But you need to make sure you leave a loop, because you'll do that with your other end. You're then going to pull it through. You're going to pull that tail through, okay? So I need to find the piece that's the tail. This is the tail. I'm going to pull it all the way through. Okay. You can take your needle off. And then you kind of smooth it out, right? So now you have a tail going through the plies and you can snip this shorter. Now, if you're doing the Russian join and you're doing it on both ends, you have to remember you have to put this through your loop first. Through your loop. And then thread the needle and then do the join. Okay? But I'm going to just do both to see what it looks like. So I'm going to do the pink as the Russian join, and I'm going to do the orange as the clasped weft, and we're going to go from there on this. So I have finished this is the blanket, the Helen Stewart one, the Anthology throw. And this is where I was when I showed you in the last episode, and here's where I'm at now, and I'm going to add on the color. And I just want to kind of see what it looks like. I'll show you guys what it looks like after I knit this little bit. So yeah, so you would just snip this end, and then, so when you're knitting with one that's the Russian join, you technically don't have 2 stitches except for the part all the way at the loop, because this is now 1 thread, right? That makes sense? Okay. All right, so I just wanted to explain that a little bit, because I know not everybody knows the difference. I mean, there's split splicing, but I can't do this. This is a superwash yarn, so I can't do that with this. Split splicing is a whole nother type of joining. And then there's also just picking up your new thread and then weaving all your tails in. So you can do that too. Thursday. Can you believe it's already March? March 2nd, right? March 2nd? So, we had a game night with a few of the people in my knitting group that I've been with for a very long time, and we all brought different games, and so I got really infatuated with this game, and we now own one of them. I want to get the original. I got a variation because I thought Hayes might really enjoy the variation, because it's like kid friendly. It's called Flux, F-L-U-X-X. Now this is the Wizard of Oz edition. The cards look like, the backs I think on almost all the cards are like this. So it's called Flux because the game is always in flux. It's always ever changing. It's never the same. It's pretty exciting. So if you've ever played this, put that down in the comments. And if you do own any of the special decks, what do you own? Because I really wanted to buy the Firefly deck, but none of my family knows what that is. So I got the Wizard of Oz, and then this one has additional cards. If you've ever played this, there's creeper cards and surprise cards. They're additional cards to the original game. The original game doesn't have those. So I ended up buying the SpongeBob set also. So what's kind of really awesome about this, the artwork, first off, is just fun on all the cards because they're different. But the guy, and maybe it's him and his partner, I'm not sure, they're from Maryland. Maryland for the win! So I just thought that was really cool. So I watched a bunch of YouTube videos on like how to play Flux, even though the person that brought this game like explained it. I just wanted a little more because I was like super infatuated. I was like rabbit holing. So yeah, Flux. I got some stuff done. I don't remember if I showed my home cardigan. It's not like fully finished and I haven't blocked it. But it has the neckband on it now. I just can't remember if I showed this. So I'm going to show it real quick. I have a message in to an Etsy seller about some custom buttons, so I'm excited. Maybe I did talk about it, because I was talking about buttons and colors. Okay, there it is. I'll do a final showing once all the ends are woven and whatnot. And then I had a viewer. People are so nice. I don't want to say names, because I didn't ask if I could say names. But they were like, hey, would you want some cones for your knitting machine? And I was like, sure. And I was like, can I like barter? and crank you something. And she's like, no, I have a knitting machine. And I was like, oh, she's like, I just have way too many cones. Never going to use them all. And so this is just a very small stack. So I want to say thank you very much. You know who you are. And I really appreciate it. Sometimes I load up all my cones and then I don't have cones and then I have to do like, you know, some Frankenstein socks or monster socks or scrappy socks, whatever you want to call them. So I have to do that because I run out of cones. Earlier in this episode, I was showing you guys I finally dyed John's gloves. These are like the one line mitt. The information will be down below. I'll try to put the name here. I had used yarn from the Maryland Co-op and I knew I wanted to dye it. I showed you guys in the video I used tobacco leaf and I used lichen. I did not care for, and I didn't take a picture, I did not care for the tobacco leaf because it was more of a gold color. I was trying to go more brown. So what I ended up doing, I ended up dip dyeing the brown end again in teddy bear brown. These are all Dharma dyes, in case you are wondering. So I used teddy bear brown and I re-dipped dyed them, and it had a little bit of dye left in the bottom of the pot. So then I just submerged the whole glove in that, and it even made the green a little more like muted, I guess. I think they turned out really awesome. I'm just gonna show you guys. They're not exactly the same the way when I dip dyed them. That one has a much more distinct line than this one. And even some of the dye, it looks like caught right there where it didn't do that so much. I don't know. It's just really, they're really cool. John digs them. He also did not dig the gold-ish color. So that was another reason I did end up re-dyeing the one end, because neither of us were happy. And if he's going to be wearing them, I want him to be happy. So luckily I didn't have to like over dye the whole thing like a super dark color, because it really worked. I think it came out really awesome. So, boop boop. Okay, I have put some work on my, not mine, for Hayes. I put some work on the Wednesday vest. I put a marker in so you guys could see where I was versus now. I had a few rows left to go on the second row of blocks. So you guys had seen the whole first row, you'd seen some of the second row. That's about where I was, and now I'm on the third row. I've deemed this is going to be the back side. I'm not doing any shaping on the back side. None. I figure I'll add the armholes, it'll be fine. And on the front, I think in the example or in the picture of her wearing it, it looks like it is shaped a little on the armholes. I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna keep them like squared off armholes, add the ribbing for the vest part. I am gonna do the shaping here. So the thing that what I think I'm going to do is, instead of having all 4 blocks going across at one time, I'm gonna break it down into strips, and I'm gonna have 1 strip here and 1 strip here. Working with less balls of yarn makes it a little easier. And then I'll be able to decrease on just the center line of each of the panels, and then I'll mattress stitch down the center below where it separates. That's what I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do. And then I'll end up mattress seaming the sides, putting the bottom ribbing, and doing the ribbing all at the top. I mean, that's still a long ways away. You'll probably see this quite a few more times, so I apologize if you're bored with it, but I'm gonna show you my progress. I mean, Barb from Flame and Fiber, she just got her granddaughters done so fast. But I've just not been so focused on that either. I think Barb was just like, boom, focus, done. It was out, done. It was just done. And I'm just not that I don't love working on it. I don't like working with the 4 balls of yarn. That's really such a pain in the butt. So I think once I get the back done and I'm doing those 2 front panels, I think I'm gonna like enjoy it more. Does that make sense? Okay. That's it. That's what I have to show you. Actually, I mean, I have other stuff. I've worked on the blanket. I'll show you guys that in a later clip. And I Also received my last installment from the Maryland Lamb Co-op Yarn Club. So I have that. I was waiting for the newsletter that comes with it so I could give more details, but I haven't got, I got to recheck my email. I may have gotten it. I mean, the details are on the yarn, but I love when they give us little snippets. So yeah, they reshared this and I was like, oh, isn't that cool? And they actually still have more of this available. I don't know if they ship though. So if you're local and you go to the farm store for New Roots Farm, you can buy this. You can buy some plain white Cheviot yarn if you're interested. So, all right, now that's it. All right, to the next one. Okay, it is March 4th and it's Saturday and I need to round this up. And I'm going to show you, this is, I believe, my last installment from the Maryland Lamb Co-op Yarn Club. They're doing it again. I might sign up again. I might not, only because I really need to use yarn in my stash. Even though I love supporting them, I can always go to the farm store and get, sometimes they have extras there and sometimes they don't. So it just depends on how much they have for that month's club. So I can always get more yarn, right? Like that's not a problem. So last installment, I believe, is so pretty. It has the New Roots Farm logo on it. That is one of the co-op farms. And I got 2 skeins of this. And I got 2 skeins of this. They are both 125 ounces, 125 yards, 3 ounces, 2-ply worsted. This one is 73% sheep and 27% alpaca. This one is 80% sheep and 20% Surrey alpaca. So this one I know is Surrey. This just says alpaca, but they're so pretty. So that's what I have. So 500 yards of a worsted weight. 500 yards of a worsted weight. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I didn't get a newsletter this time for this yarn club, so they usually give pattern suggestions, and I really like that idea that they do that. When I do log these in Ravelry, I usually then link the pattern suggestions too, so then I could possibly reference that and be like, oh yeah, that would be really cool to make with that yarn. So yeah, I'm excited for these. They're so pretty. 500 yards of worsted. I don't know how much I need for, like, I don't know. I gotta look. And alpaca has like a different kind of drape, although the alpaca is a lower concentrate of the yarn. So the only other thing that I have put a few rows on Hazel's vest. I would love to finish the back this weekend and start the front this weekend. That is a goal, I guess. I don't set many goals, but ooh, this is the next color for the Anthology throw, and I am not quite done the 3rd color. I have this much left, but I'm ready to join. That's why I did, I'm not ready to join yet, but that's why I wound it up. Oh my god, this is so cool. Cha-ching! I love it. It's so bright. All right, so this is Helen Stewart, the Anthology throw. Last I showed you guys, I was there. So I've gotten a lot of knitting done on it. It's going to take longer to start getting wider strips because it's getting much bigger. I think it's like 280 some stitches. So I got all that done. I was trying to do like a color a day, but that's kind of 20 grams is a lot. And when I was crocheting my advent, I was doing 10 grams a day, but I was also crocheting it, so it went really, really fast. I could do that in a day. I can't do this in a day. I wish I could. That would be pretty awesome, but I just don't have enough hours in the day. So, all right. And I know I had mentioned, I had a few people I have had people, I should say, in the past comment about where to get split ring bonnets for your machine, starter bonnets. So this one was gifted to me, and Andi the Knitress does sell them. Right now, when I looked, she didn't have any in her shop, but she had commented on the last episode because I don't remember how it all came up, but if you do ask her, she can make them. I am also going to probably just have a handful in the shop at all times, and a handful meaning like 2 or 3. This is like a specialty item that not every knitter is going to need because you use it on your machine, and a lot of people make their own, so I'm not going to have a lot of them in there. So I did make one to put in the shop. It's a little bit longer. Now I still have to take this off and cinch it up, but yeah, this will be for 64, and I'm going to get this in the shop hopefully also this weekend. So I'll have that. And other than that, that's about it. John, hold on. That is all I have to talk about, I think. So watching, I read a lot. I read quite a few books. So I read that I don't think I actually talked about. I read both of the Dante and Aristotle books. I'll list everything down below. I might have already deleted them from my read list. Gosh, I can't think of any of the other names of the books. The Invisible Child, I know the name of that one because I'm reading that for book club for my work. It's about a black family and how they have went through with poverty and, you know, being part of like getting assistance from the government and how difficult that is, and living in shelters. And that's been of course eye-opening because I privileged that I didn't have to live in that sort of situation, but that is really good, and I recommend if you want to read about topics like that you choose that one. I know I'm listening to it on Audible. It was gifted from my work because it's part of the book club. They gifted it to us to read. They also would give us hard copies if we wanted to read a hard copy. I like audiobooks. And then other than that, I read one other book, and why can't I think of it? It was really good. It was pretty good. It was really good. I'll have to list it down below. And then I watched the documentary. It's like a 3-part documentary about that family in South Carolina, that the Murdals. They have a lot of stuff going on. I didn't even know about this until one of my friends was talking about it at midnight, and I was like, whoa, I'm gonna watch that. I like watching true crime-ish stuff. I guess it's kind of like falls in the true crime category. Yeah. And other than that, John and I have still been watching Outlander, and yeah, just keeping busy. We've been doing a lot lately, just in our homes and with work. It's just been it's been a lot going on. Yeah. I have not heard from the second winner from the I asked your favorite snack cake, and I haven't heard from the second winner. So go back to the previous episode and watch that. I'll try to remember to put an iCard up here for that because I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I could probably put the name in here too. But make sure I have been contacted from one winner, and I need to put the package together. So I apologize, but I will get that out. So that's about all that's going on. So I hope everybody is well as you can be, and taking care of yourselves and checking in on others. And until the next episode, I'm holding my head up and I gotta stop doing that. Whatever. All right. Until the next episode, what did I say? Peace, love, and happy crafting. There you go. Bye. This. Okay. And where did we get this recipe from?
My book called Everybody Loves Hazel.
Everybody Loves Hazel. It's super cute. It does. It has a cake recipe in the back, right?
Because it's her birthday and they're going to pick up a pink birthday cake, but her friends were sad, and they needed help. So she helped them and on the way to get her cake.
All right. So you're gonna decorate it, right?
Yeah. It's going to say, we
Okay, all right.